Tonight on Dr. Phil Primetime. You got guns, drugs, alcohol, and a bunch of teens.
The young people are dying at these parties.
This is a red alert to parents. You need to talk to your kids. Hundreds of teens attending what law enforcement calls a takeover.
On the ground! We got a dog!
Melina was there when her teenage boyfriend was shot and killed.
I was screaming for someone to help.
Did he die right there? You'll never get over this. What you'll do is you'll get through it. Thank you. Well, take a look at this. What you are watching is a parent red alert. Hundreds of teens attending what law enforcement calls a takeover, an event organized on social media with the sole intention of gathering as many teens and young adults as possible in order to literally take over city and suburban streets, parks, malls, and even houses to party in for profit. Often these events result in businesses ransacked and neighborhoods destroyed from chaotic behavior, reckless driving, and violence that ensues, many times leading to arrest and, tragically, death. Now, recently in Bexar County, Texas, an innocent 17-year-old boy named Landon was shot and killed at what has been described as a teen takeover party. Now, the sheriff of this county says every weekend his office is responding to drug and alcohol-fueled events organized by online hosts and attended by teens, usually thrown at abandoned or empty, newly built homes. And what is most alarming is that many of these teens that show up are armed. So you got guns, drugs, alcohol, and a bunch of teens. What could possibly go wrong?
Takeover parties is what we've taken to calling this phenomenon. Get a group of young people getting organized, showing up at a place that they're not supposed to be, taking over an abandoned building, a warehouse, or a residence in some instances. They're dancing on countertops, in some instances, waving guns around. Many times when you get young people, alcohol and drugs, fentanyl, and weapons, that's a recipe for disaster. What we have seen is that young people are dying at these parties.
I received a call there just before 1 a.m. Sunday morning for a report of a shooting, but they found the 17-year-old victim in this case dead in the backyard from an apparent gunshot wound. The victim is Landon Reyes.
Landon was at his party. There was upwards of 100 teenagers. It appears that there was some indiscriminate gunfire going on. Witnesses reported hearing several dozen gunshots, and unfortunately, when everybody scattered, Landon was found deceased from an apparent gunshot wound. The fact that we saw so many guns, so many drugs discarded out in plain sight tells me it runs rampant at these parties. You get a bunch of young kids out there, they've got bravado because they're armed. There's weapons, of course, and then the use of drugs out in the open. You're just asking for trouble at that point.
Well, over the course of this past week, my team has been working to gather intel online in order to track alleged takeover party host in Bexar County, Texas. This past Friday night, we discovered information about a potential takeover party. And once the address was revealed, because see, they do all this, get everybody paying attention, then at the last second, they drop the address. Now, the second we got it, we immediately provided it to Bexar County Sheriff's Office. That night, they allowed our cameras to follow them to that location, and sure enough, there were teens, drugs, alcohol, and guns.
I
told you to wait to stay there. Right behind the property. Anybody else inside the house?
We were tipped off about a party happening in San Antonio. We're gonna meet up at a gas station right now.
We're gonna come up Apple Valley. We're gonna have units here just in case they try to run to the back.
When we go to situations like this, he's strategizing, he's laying out the game plan so we all get out of there alive.
If we can push them all into the backyard, that'll probably be better. Be aware of the minors, guns, anybody throwing any kind of dope. Be careful with that. If you got gloves, make sure you're wearing gloves, right? Because it could be fentanyl. You got tasers. If you have to use them, use them. All right, guys, let's do this.
You're gonna stay back till we secure it. Just work.
We do have an individual that we are looking for, so we're hopeful that we're gonna come across that individual tonight. We just got here. Get on this side.
We're on the ground. We got a dog.
Stay your Turn off your car. Turn it off.
Keep your hands. Keep your hands away from your body. On the floor now. On the floor now.
Crawl out feet first. Crawl out feet first. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Good. I got you covered.
All the way down. All the way down now.
The house does smell like marijuana. You understand that, right? You got a phone on you?
Anybody else inside the house?
Turn around. Turn around.
Nobody's inside the house.
Put your hands on top of your head. On top of your head. Anybody else inside the house?
Do not go in the house. Do not go in the house. Just hold that.
You have anything on you?
All right, we'll tie you down. Make sure you got nothing on you. Take
All the way down now. Hands behind your back. Let's go. Get down.
Mr. 16-year-old, you need to be at home, bro.
Whoa, possession of what? I ain't have shit on me.
Oh, looks like we got a rifle look on the roof right here. It looks like it's semi-automatic. Obviously, it looks like it's been modified. It's been changed from its original color. It's been painted several times. These are the weapons that are claiming the lives of innocent kids on the street. Same weapon that's being used in school shootings across the nation.
We got the host.
Come to the back when we find discarded marijuana, we find alcohol and beer, and then come to find a rifle. You introduce that, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Wow. Well, Chef Salazar, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
This is a big deal that's going on around the country, isn't it?
It is, yes, sir.
And how often is it happening in Bexar County?
Well, breaking up parties is a daily occurrence, in big cities like San Antonio, where I work. But more and more lately here, we're seeing them turn to drug-fueled events where young kids are losing their lives.
And thank you for letting us follow you along to see what is going on, because we want people to become aware of this. Parents need to know where their kids are going. Oh, we'll just go riding around. Well, are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are they going to something like this? And in this, we had 50-plus partygoers, obviously a large group of teens, arrests and charges. There was unlawfully carrying a weapon, engaging in organized criminal activity, purchasing alcohol for minors, minor in possession of alcohol, providing alcohol to a minor. You confiscated 3 guns, 2 pistols, and 1 semi-automatic AR-15 type gun, right? Armor-piercing ammunition.
Yes, sir.
And drugs.
Yes, sir.
What the hell are they doing with all of this stuff at a party?
You want to believe as a parent that your kids are just going out to have innocent, harmless fun, and their intention might be to just go out and have harmless fun, but unfortunately there is a subset within the group that's out there. It's that gun culture, and unfortunately many times that turns to gun play, and young people are losing their lives as a result.
You say these things are run by organized crews?
Absolutely. We've taken a call on party crews, promoters. It's nothing more than a guy with a link to social media.
Right.
But he's found a way to make money on it, and they're hiring security, if you want to call it that, hiring DJs, hiring bartenders in some instances. Nobody with any sort of licenses or anything. It's just whoever's willing to serve up liquor to minors.
And this house that they were in on this particular night, did they just break in?
No, in this instance, the resident of the home was also arrested that night for allowing this sort of activity to occur. We've seen these in abandoned Knights of Columbus halls that are no longer in use. The home where Landon was killed was a home that was brand new, under construction. It just hadn't been closed on yet, so there was nobody living in it just yet.
So they just come in and take over?
Yes, sir.
This is a flyer that was put out, I guess, on the internet.
Yes, sir.
And says, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., contraband, pinata, beer pong, bring your friends. It shows the date and some graphics, and then at the last minute, they put up the address.
Sure.
Because they're afraid you might be watching.
Absolutely. We've got an intelligence network, and well, as it turns out, your intelligence network is also pretty good because y'all got the same information and got it over to us.
Yeah, but we called you right away.
Absolutely, you did. We appreciate it.
Sheriff, the night of Landon's murder, and we're talking about a delightful young man.
Yes, sir.
That was murdered at a party. You broke up 4 parties that night.
Yes, sir. And it seemed almost like some of the same groups, and we were just chasing them from party to party. Not only was it some of the same kids, I think the same promoter may have been involved in several parties.
Oh, wow. And the party in which Landon was killed, the neighbors reported hearing 20 gunshots or so. Are they just like shooting in the air into the ceiling? Are they shooting at each other?
Well, in this instance, we found shell casings all around the house. I just don't think they're paying any attention at all to where they're shooting or if it's towards somebody or not. It's just indiscriminate gunplay.
And has Landon's killer been identified as yet?
No, sir, unfortunately. And here's the most heartbreaking thing about that is I know we've got a grieving mom, grieving family, and I would love nothing more than to put handcuffs on this person personally. But the problem is, it's not like it was just Landon and the suspect by themselves. There were dozens of witnesses around, and just nobody's willing to give us the information that we know that they have.
Yeah, that makes it so hard, right?
Yes,
but surely somebody is going to step up and do the right thing here. That's so important. And when we come back, we're going to talk to the girlfriend of the young man who was recently shot and killed at this takeover party. And for the first time, she's going to speak publicly about that night in order to help find her boyfriend's killer. We're going to meet her right after the break. How many times have you run this back over and over in your head?
Every day, every moment of every day. I regret everything from that night.
Well, what you just watched was a group of teens who reportedly broke into an $8 million mansion to throw a takeover party, which is a dangerous trend happening throughout the country. And look, this is a cautionary tale. This is a red alert to parents. You need to talk to your kids. They're not going to tell you, hey, I'm going to a takeover party, but you can talk to them preventatively about the dangers of going to this sort of thing and how it can really turn bad and wind up ruining somebody's life or worse. My next guest, Melina, knows firsthand how unsafe a takeover can be because she was there when her teenage boyfriend, Landon, was shot and killed. And we're just talking 2 months ago.
This is a charm he bought me for our 6 months. And he got me this ring for our 1 year as a promise ring. And he says, I love you to the moon and back, because we would say that to each other. Me and Landon were together for 4 years. This year was gonna be our senior year, and on August 3rd, we decided to go to a party. I had seen somebody post about this party, and they had sent out a first location, but it said it got shut down, so we ended up switching to like 2 or 3 more houses after that. Nobody lived in those houses. They were like newly built. When we went to the final house, it was just packed, and it ended up being a lot of people just waving guns in the air. Everyone was playing music, and we were just dancing and singing, and it got really hot. So me and Landon had walked outside, and that's when we heard the first gunshot. I just remember running, and when I got to my car, I realized that he wasn't with me, so I ran back into the house. There was people standing around a person on the ground. I realized it was Landon when I saw his shirt. I ran up to him, and I just started crying and screaming for people to help him. When I realized that Landon was shot was When I was in the cop car and this cop was talking to the other cop, and he said, "This is the girlfriend of the deceased." These parties are very dangerous. I feel guilt from it because I know had I not wanted to go, he would still be here.
Well, Melina, thank you for being here. I'm sorry for the occasion. Wish we were talking about anything else. How many times have you run this back over and over in your head?
Every day, every moment of every day. I regret everything from that night. I regret my decisions to go, and even thinking of going to something like that, I regret like not thinking of that, just wanting to go to a party with my friends.
When you look back on the videos, you now see numerous kids with guns. Were you aware of that when you were in there?
No, we were told by many people like there would be no guns, that there was pat downs going on. Not that that made it an okay, but just wasn't something that crossed my mind, because also friends from school were gonna be there. So it was just a little bit like nothing like that was really crossing my mind when we had went.
And did you know it was an illegal party?
Yes, I knew that going, people were gonna be drinking and there was gonna be stuff like that going on.
And you said when you were leaving, you realized he wasn't right behind you. That's the first time you knew that something had happened.
When it happened and I heard the gunshots, I was running to my car, but Landon had been holding on to me the whole time. We were at the party, he never let go of me. So when I got to my car and I realized that he wasn't with me, I went back to the house. And that's when I started to look for him because he wasn't with me.
And you saw a bunch of kids standing around and somebody was down.
I went back through the house and there was still gunshots being fired, and there were kids like on the ground just saying, like, yelling at me to like get down and stuff. But I was trying to find Landon, and I looked outside and I saw a bunch of people surrounding somebody. Of course, I didn't think it would be Landon. My worry was trying to find him. And then when I went back outside to double look, that's when I saw his shirt and I realized that it was him.
Take me through the moment you realized he had been shot.
When I ran up to him, everyone was kind of turning him over and trying to see if he got shot. Some people were saying that he did. Others were saying like that he probably was having an anxiety attack or something else was happening. I had seen a little, I guess like red dot on the side of his, thank you, on the side of his stomach, but I was just screaming for somebody to help him. I didn't think that he had got shot. I didn't want to believe that he did. I wanted to find every other reason that what could be going wrong with him.
Did he die right there on the ground? What would you say to kids that want to go to these things?
To just to think twice about and be more aware. Landon was aware of things like this, and he was super cautious when it came to stuff like this, but unfortunately I wasn't, and I just would think that these things don't happen to people like me. They only happen in movies, and I hope that people who hear about this or know Landon, that they really use this as their reason not to go, or they think twice about participating in something like this.
Well, Sheriff, is she saying there were people there from her school, friends that she had? Are there any leads as to who this was? Was he targeted, or was this just a wild shot?
At this point, there are no indicators that he was targeted. To my knowledge, the young man had no enemies to speak of. I think it was indiscriminate gunfire that ultimately struck him. I'm fully convinced somebody there, several somebodies know who it is that did it, but they're not talking. In the days thereafter, we did get a call from at least one young person that was there that said, look, I didn't want to come forward because my parents didn't know where I was that night. but she felt a sense of guilt and wanted to get this off of her chest. She couldn't tell us who it was. She did tell us that she was there at the party. She was hiding inside the house, cowering inside of a closet with several other people. So again, I know for a fact there's people out that know exactly who did it. They're just not saying right now. But they can see this is real emotion. This young lady's gonna be affected for the rest of her life. And to hold that in and not tell us who did it, it's inhuman.
What caliber of gun was?
Well, at this point, we're waiting on results from the medical examiner to tell us that.
But it was one shot.
One shot that hit him, yes, sir. Behind him, there were several different shell casings from different calibers, indicating several different weapons, of course. And once we're able to determine what round it was that hit him, we can start going back to those shell casings that match it.
Mm-hmm. Were there party hosts that posted this?
Yes, sir. We knew one of the hosts. He was an old friend. And they had been hosting like different parts, like a part 1, a part 2, a part 3 of these parties. And this ended up being the last part in end of summer.
And so do you pay to go?
Yes, we didn't pay because we knew one of the hosts, but people do. It's usually like $5 or $10 to get into these parties.
Are these hosts still throwing parties?
The one that I knew, he doesn't. After that night, he just completely removed himself from all of that. I'm not sure if the other ones still do.
So you know who the host was?
Yes,
that she knows? Okay. All right, Landon's mother is here and says the pain she feels from burying her child at just 17 years old is just beyond unbearable. We're going to meet her after the break.
This case stems from March 9th of 2024. It was a Saturday morning. We got a call at about 3:54 in the morning for a report of a shooting. But it appears that there was a takeover party. The young lady that lost her life in this horrible case was 21-year-old Desiree Rivera. And she was shot in the head and died almost instantly. Jonathan Ariola, 20 years of age, is being arrested for murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. We thank all of the people that were brave enough to put things forward, and just a whole lot of really good police work went into this, for sure.
Well, that was Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar announcing an arrest in connection with the murder of a 21-year-old female partygoer who was gunned down at an alleged takeover party just this past March. Now, my next guest, Sasha, knows how the family of that innocent young woman must feel because her 17-year-old son, Landon, was shot and killed at a party in the same county. But his shooter is still on the loose.
Landon was 17 years old. He very much took on the role of caretaker. It was always about making time for his family and for his friends. Landon was not into the party scene. The night of the party, he decided to go with his girlfriend, Melina,
to make sure that she got home safely.
I had stepped in the shower and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my son for the last time. By 1:10 in the morning, I get a call that there were gunshots and Landon's unconscious on the ground. When we showed up to the scene, the police stopped everyone who was showing up. We couldn't go any further. All we could do was go home. 6 hours later, we got the phone call that there was only one fatality, and immediately I knew that it was my son. My world fell apart. You're never thinking that you're gonna bury your children. Your intention is always that your children are gonna bury you. The takeover parties, they're all dangerous. The police need to put an end to all of them. There is never getting over you losing your child. You just learn how to live with pain.
Sasha, I'm so very sorry that you're having to deal with this. So sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
One thing you'll not hear me say is I know how you feel, because nobody can know unless they've been through it themselves, right?
Right.
This is the first time that you've spoken publicly about the murder of your son. Why did you decide to do it? Why here? Why now?
I think a big part of it was I wanted a better understanding of who Landon was as a person. Landon was such a protector, even from the beginning when he was a young boy. He was very loving, very caring, very much about his family. He loved cars from the very beginning when he was a little boy. Initially, when everything kind of was out in the open about the party itself, that wasn't an understanding of who he was as a person. And that hurt me. And his picture kind of being up, initially about the party and people thinking that my son was somebody who kind of went to these things on a regular. He didn't. He was going to be a senior this year, but this was the first party that he had decided to go to.
He didn't want to go.
He did not want to go. A big reason is who he was as a person, and in wanting to protect his girlfriend and friends that were going. So he was the driver. He was the one to make sure everybody got home safe, because my son had a very good understanding of what happened at these parties, which was a big reason of why he didn't go to these kinds of things.
He went to keep you safe. And you talked to him on the phone that night?
Yes, I did. He gave my husband a hug and a kiss and said that he would be back in a little bit, that they were going to leave and he was going to take Melina and a couple of friends to a party. So I was in the shower at the time that they left, and I kind of called him immediately and was like, hey, baby, where are you going? And he told me that, we were going to go to a party. I'm going to take Melina for a little bit. And I was like, okay, I love you. Be careful. I'll see you in a little bit. And I asked him, baby, just for peace of mind, can you just send me the address, when you get there? And he's like, of course, Mom, I'll let you know as soon as we get there. So as soon as they got there, he sent me the address. And I told him, okay, have fun. I'll see you in a little bit. I love you. Be careful. I love you too, Mom. I will. And that was the last conversation that I had with him.
Well, you got a call at 1:15 from who?
A friend of Melina's. She had grabbed Landon's phone, so I'm thinking it's my son calling me. And I pick up the phone, and all I could hear is Melina screaming in the background, and her friend trying to tell me if I had Landon's location. And I told her, yes, I have his location. Why, what's wrong? Where is he? Why isn't he on the phone? And she was telling me that she thought that Landon was unconscious because he had a mark on his head, on his forehead from falling, and she thought that it was because of that he was not awake. And I was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean he's unconscious? Why is he unconscious? She was telling me that she thinks that he drank too much, or that he hit his head and he passed out, or something like that. And I was like, my son doesn't drink, like he was going for Melina, he doesn't drink. So there's something else, you have to tell me there's something else, move him, check him. And she was, panicking, of course, rightfully so. And I understood that. So I didn't expect anything else. I was like, I'm coming, She was like, just get here, please. Get to the location that he sent you. So I hung up the phone, And when I hung up the phone, not even a couple minutes later, she called again. That's when I learned that there were gunshots involved. And when she told me that, I said, was my son shot? Was Landon shot? And of course, she couldn't tell me because with Landon and where he was shot, there was no blood that came out. So they didn't know that he was shot.
You got to the scene, but by that time it had been barricaded off.
I couldn't go in. They wouldn't let me through. I tried to get information, but nobody was helpful.
It was 7 a.m. before the investigators called you? And what did they tell you?
He didn't really share too much in the beginning. I was more of doing the talking. And in stating that, do you have somebody? And he said that there was a male that they're believed to be 17 years of age. And I kind of went into describing what my son looked like. He's light skinned, he's got dark curly hair. He wouldn't have his ID on him because he doesn't carry his wallet, so the vehicle that he went in would more likely have his driver's license inside of it. So I was kind of describing the vehicle that he went in. And then when I said my son's name, at that point, they already had done the fingerprints and stuff for the vehicle that he had driven that night.
Mm-hmm.
And then he identified my son.
Okay. We'll be right back. Neither of you, of course, foresaw this coming. You didn't realize the danger. Like you say, it always happens to somebody else, right? It's something you read in the newspaper or on the internet or whatever. It doesn't happen to you. Your son was not reckless.
No,
he was not someone that went out and put himself in harm's way.
No, he didn't.
And, this starts out, as you said, it usually is a bunch of teens just wanting to get together and have a good time. But then there's a subset that comes in that they're drinking or drugging, armed, and things get out of hand, and then you're there. It doesn't matter what your intention was, you're in a dangerous situation, right?
Absolutely, you're in the midst of it. And I mean, look, there's a reason why those flyers say, leave your strap at the crib. They know that there's a gun culture, a gun subculture that's gonna show up and cause problems.
Yeah. I've often said there's no good way out of a bad situation. The idea is to stay out of the bad situation. And I told you in the beginning, I'm not going to tell you I know how you feel. It's not the natural order of things for parents to bury their children.
No, it isn't.
It's supposed to be the other way around. And this is where you are. And
I just want there to be an awareness, not only for the young adults that are putting themselves in situations like this, but also for the parents to have more knowledge about where their kids are going, to not just let them say, oh, mom or dad, I'm going to a party, to know exactly where they are and if that home is occupied by somebody, and if there's an adult that's there, what kind of party it is. It's our job as parents to know those kinds of things.
And Melina, you would give anything in the world to change this. I know you didn't intend for this to happen, but it did. And people can pat the back of your hand and tell you, well, time heals all wounds and you'll get over this. Time heals nothing. And let me just be honest with you. You'll never get over this.
No, I won't.
What you'll do is you'll get through it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find some way that this will become part of your reality, part of your existence, and everybody grieves differently.
Yes.
You two may grieve the same on one given day, and on another day, you'll be in two very different places. But the thing is, you're using this situation, you're using his life to try to save other children. And I tell you, I don't know how many people will see this before it's over, but it's very likely in the millions. And out of that, if even a small percentage of kids say, it's just not worth it.
Right.
So many kids are affected by this FOMO. That's just not the way to make decisions in your life.
I definitely want justice for my son.
Of course.
I want there to be a stop, an end to the parties and how dangerous they are. I don't want more lives to be affected and more lives to end, for there to be some change to happen.
Well, but the only way to do that is for people to become aware,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you that even in the studio audience, people are not aware
Right.
that teens are out doing this kind of thing. And it doesn't matter how well-intended they are.
Yeah.
You put certain things together, it's just going to spell disaster, right? You
Yes.
put drugs, alcohol, brains that aren't finished growing yet, and therefore they can't see around corners.
Sure.
And then you throw guns in the middle of it and put boys and girls together, and territoriality and jealousy and all sort of things start. Who knows what happens?
Right.
But you can use this to alert people and at least know, hey, I'm not wasting everything here. Was it worth the lesson? Of course not. It was not worth the lesson.
Right.
But that's happened, and not even God can change what has happened. So what you have to focus on now is, what can we do going forward? How can we use this situation? You guys are letting people know this gets real.
Yes,
and
it does.
you have to be patient with yourself. You had a great relationship with your son, open lines of communication. He sent you the address. It wasn't like he was sneaking off somewhere.
No.
He was a protector. He went to protect you. And you didn't go in there with the intention of putting him at risk. It's just something that falls apart in those situations. You've got to begin by forgiving yourselves, because you did not intend for anything bad to happen here. And for you to feel like there's been some value here, you've got to have some justice for your son.
Yes, sir.
And this man, look, he's not doing this for the money. You don't do this to get rich, right,
No,
Sheriff?
sir, not at all.
You got to care about what's going on.
Right.
And they'll stay after this, and they'll find out who's involved here. That won't bring him back,
No, it won't.
but it'll at least let you know that there's been some accountability here.
Yes.
And you both have to be patient with yourselves and give yourselves permission to grieve. That's going to mean you're going to be angry, and you're going to be upset about it. It's going to hurt. And you have to do the best you can from one day to the next, and just know that pretty soon days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months. And you'll never forget this, but you'll find a way to get through it. And just don't ever think that it's painful to think about. That would be a terrible thing to do to Landon if every time you thought of him, it brought tears to your eyes. You've got to get to the point where when you think of him, it brings a smile to your face and you laugh, and he's part of your world. He's part of your existence.
It does.
Yeah, and don't feel guilty about that.
Right.
And be patient, and you'll get through this. And I think out of respect for this wonderful young man, we should just take a moment to reflect on who he truly was, not who people thought he was in the beginning. So just a moment of silence as we think about Landon and what was lost here. Sure had a lot of smiles on his face. My final thoughts about all this after the break. Tonight, we've been discussing the tragic consequences of teen and young adult trends that law enforcement calls a takeover. And as you've seen, it can be a takeover of a house, an abandoned building, something under construction where they haven't even turned the utilities on yet. And you can't know where your child's going every night once they leave the house. But what you can do is help them develop foresight, where you say, all right, let's just play the what if game. All right, and you can play the what if game till it makes you crazy. But the what if game can also be constructive as long as you answer the question. What if I do go? What if somebody is shot at a party? What if I'm implicated in it? What if it changes my whole life? What if I go to jail? What if something Answer those questions, and maybe your child will take pause and say, you know what? The risk-reward ratio is just not good for me. But the only way you're going to affect that is you sit down and have that conversation with them. And they might roll their eyes, say, oh, Mom, come on. Oh, Dad, come on. But they're going to hear it. And you need to teach them, it's what we refer to as critical thinking, how to think their way through this, because they don't come to it naturally at that age. You got to teach them how to think their way through. Let's just project ahead. Let's say if this happens, then that happens, then this happens. And it sticks with them. The whole goal of any discipline is that it ultimately becomes internalized and becomes self-discipline. And that's true whether you're dealing with a 2-year-old, 12-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever. You hope they internalize it and it becomes self-discipline. Maybe if somebody had had that conversation, maybe you two wouldn't be sitting here tonight. And maybe using this as an example will save somebody else from filling that chair next year. Let's just pray that's true. I want to thank all of my guests tonight, and a special thanks to Sheriff Javier Salazar and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office for all their assistance on tonight's episode. If you have any information about Landon's murder, any information at all, please share that information. Log on to drphil.com. And remember, calls and tips directly to Crime Stoppers are anonymous. Thank you all for being here. Good night.